Okay. So now that we've kind of gotten off of our
Let's
little,
get down to business.
That kind of turned into a salty rant.
It did. Are we just normally salty?
Girl, I think
maybe it's with your new age.
now it's my fault.
Well, maybe you're influencing me.
No, you know what? Salt preserves the body.
It does.
So as far as I'm concerned, let's do it.
And it heals the wounds.
Thank you.
Exactly. Instead of in Florida, you don't say rub some dirt in it. You say rub some salt in it.
Yeah, salt. Exactly. Because sand is probably dirty, right? Or contaminated, as we learned.
Don't put the sand back on the beach. It's contaminated.
No,
yeah, we learned that all.
And actually, that reminds me.
We learned it.
That reminds me.
Damn it, Debbie.
Welcome to the Real Salty Podcast. Please join Stephanie and Caitlin as we dive into life in Florida, the good, the salty, and everything in between. We'll chat about real estate, family, sports, building a community, and all the unique things that make living in the Sunshine State so special. Plus, we'll bring on some amazing special guests to share their stories and expertise along the way. So grab your favorite drink and get ready to laugh, learn, and get a little salty with us.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back for another episode of the Real Salty Podcast. How's it going?
It's a going. It might be backwards.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's actually perfect for me. Thank you.
It's your birthday.
It's my
It's amazing that you're recording on your podcast too. I love that.
I know, right? Actually, a couple of people were like, "Oh, you're recording tonight?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah, I'm recording tonight."
Hey, get this party started.
I mean, and however many thousands of episodes from now, we can look back and be like, "Oh, look at that little adorable
Caitlin. Little did she know what she's getting herself into.
Look at her turning 39 for the first time. God bless her heart, right?
I wish I was turning 39 for the first time, but you
know, I feel good. I feel good about it.
So
it might be because I live my life in almost kind of like a Peter Pan lifestyle, if you will, just because Trent and I don't have children. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like in my 30s, I really got a hell of a lot more comfortable in my skin, which I've had a lot of people resonate with that into their 40s as well. But at the same time, after the year we went through last year, my brother calls me today and was like, "Do you feel older?" And I was like, yeah,
this year I do. This year I do. I definitely do.
Every minute of it.
Yeah. I'm working on figuring out ways to reverse that ageism, right? Yeah.
Yep.
That's fair. I mean, that's fair. I think that it's amazing. You see all these women that are just empowered when they get into like their 50s, and it's like, that's amazing. I mean, okay, so the Golden Girls, like when they were filming, some of them were barely 50.
No. I know.
I think Blanche was supposed to be like 48, 49, 50. Well, first of all, we both know that 55 and older communities are a necessity. And so she was living there illegal.
Well, or maybe they had those percentage rules, right?
Maybe.
A certain percentage. Or maybe there was a widow clause because Blanche was widowed and her husband was older than her.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know.
But think about what they looked like.
Exactly. But they might have looked a certain way to us, age-wise, or dressed a certain way. But at the end of the day, if you think back to some of the conversations they were having on that show, I mean,
they're frisky.
They were living their lives.
Oh,
yes.
They were living their lives. They were frisky. And I've watched it a little bit with my daughter, and it's like,
I don't remember this
conversations. Yeah. Some of the conversations, I'm like, this is pretty advanced for...
right? I think they had rating systems back then. What would you call that? A PG-13? I don't even know. Oh,
sure. They didn't use any inappropriate words. They just went around all the obstacles to get to where they wanted to go. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
100%. But no, we should all be so lucky, right? To be living in a fabulous house with 3 of our girlfriends. I mean, let's
seriously.
do it.
Yeah. Even if the mother is involved a little bit, she adds comic relief most of the time anyway.
Okay, but not it. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, not it is right. Not it is right. Yeah, I don't want to have to be taken care of like that, but you're only 39, so that's good. So happy birthday,
You're
dearest.
Right. Thank you so much. As of today's recording, today is January 6th. So even though I am a January 6th baby, I also was part of the party that got, here's your Christmas and birthday gift. So we just wrapped up the holidays. So I'd be amiss to ask, because I haven't asked you yet. What'd you guys do for New Year's?
We went to Doc Ford's over in Jungle Prada. So as I think I've mentioned before, because my daughter's 16, Michael and I have a designated driver right now while she still wants to hang out with us, which is nice. So not that we rage, but, just we do it responsibly. So we were home pretty early, and then we just watched a couple of movies, actually, which it is almost going against the fact that we don't drink and drive, because the drinking with our daughter is, then we went home and watched a couple of Game of Thrones episodes, and there's so many scenes. I mean, we're in the latter part of this series, but in the beginning part of the series, the censorship that needed to happen with her, and she's infuriating to watch it with, because she guesses everything. Like, literally, she guesses everything. Her mind just works in this fantasy world of, like, understanding the way that these sequins go. And so she's able to guess almost everything. It's like, I can't remember that character's name, let alone try and guess anything that's going on. But so we did that and we watched the ball drop and then went to bed. How about you?
Well, at least you made it to the ball drop.
Yes.
We didn't make it. It's another year. I think I was in bed by like 10:30. So I don't know. It's been a number of years.
You didn't miss anything.
Thank you. I was going to say, the only thing that I did do was I did record Anderson Cooper and Andy Cohen, because they got permission to drink again on their CNN
which they
special.
Probably won't next year.
Oh no. Yeah, I saw that they were interviewing, was it who's that musical artist? And he literally asked him, he was like, what's the most random place you've ever done LSD?
Yes.
And the guy said, right now, on air.
I missed that. Well, I only watched like 15 minutes of it, but if I'm not mistaken, last year they weren't allowed to drink.
Correct. And so this year they told them they could. Yeah, this year they told them they could, and apparently they took a shot like every hour.
So
spoiler alert.
Yes, but then Ryan Seacrest just looks like he wants someone to replace him. So it's it's just tough. It's just
you think at this point they would already have built his like Dick Clark robot, right? Like, where's Ryan's robot? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so we watched 15 minutes of it and then we go to bed.
We actually did walk up into John's Pass. We did have dinner on the boardwalk at Hooters, I think. Walking up there, it was a beautiful night, and I hate to say it, but like a lot of the businesses that are open, it was a ghost town.
Yeah.
It was a little bit of I'm not even gonna say a little bit. It was a ghost town. We need to get foot traffic back. It was kind of sad. It was kind of sad to see, because I'd been in John's Pass on other New Year's Eves, and it's just bustling.
Yeah.
So even on
there's definitely not the same traffic as it has been. Obviously we own a business down in John's Pass, and we had really good weather. We told you we would get open. Where are you? And so that's the part that's probably hard about it, is that, we've been kind of making up some of our hours.
You're telling me that Blanche isn't renting Wave Runners? I'm just kidding.
Only if it's a hot guy that's like 30 and she'll ride on the back. Done.
There you go.
That's right.
That sounds right up her alley. Yeah.
That's right.
Perfect.
We have had some Blanches come in. I love it.
But ooh, girl.
But you're right. There's an absence of people. And it's unfortunate that Caddy's hasn't been able to get everything put back together yet, because it's such a huge footprint in John's Pass. Across the way at Krabby's, that's like one of our favorite ones. And I'm assuming that these are all permit issues, and that they're just trying to get everything. I mean, there was massive destruction to both of them. Yes. DeLosa's I saw them getting their furniture delivered today. They had the bar open. Oh my God. We should go do espresso martinis.
Okay, actually, I saw Brian, the bartender for DeLosa's. I saw him on Friday or Saturday night. Friday night, we were walking through John's Pass to go to dinner with a friend, and he was outside, and I was like, "Oh my God, hi!" Anyway, that's a second question after good to see you again, right? Because I hadn't seen him since the storm. I can't just lead with, "Do you have my alcohol?" So so we talked to him for a second.
You can, but we're classy.
Well, I think
Well,
the
we try to
second
be.
time now, I think now that I know that, they're on their way and stuff, the second time I see him, I'm gonna be like, you got it yet or not? So what we're talking about is they had this beautiful Kettle One espresso martini machine, and it was a newer addition to their bar last year, right?
Yep.
And that was one of the first questions I asked. And he told me that it did survive
Yes.
and it worked for a bit, but then it died. So as of right now, they don't have one. And I'm actually honestly thinking about calling up a fellow Bagans agent who also has an affinity for their
I know
espresso martinis.
who.
And if her and I combine our efforts and purchase it, maybe we could have like the side of the machine engraved,
Oh, yes.
with our names.
I
And
think so.
if they decide to give me like free espresso martinis forever, then win.
Okay, win-win. But yeah, I mean, retail's a tough business in general because of like the average transaction. We really need for like spring break to be big for us this year because some of these businesses, I'm scared for some of them because they,
Yes.
in order to survive and get through it
Well,
all.
and I'm sure too that people do think about this, but maybe we can put it like all into one sentence here. You have to imagine these businesses that not only went through hell in quarter
Yeah.
four, who knows how the rest of their year had gone from that point or what they had to deal with within their own business respectfully. But now they've also busted their ass and I would assume spent a lot of money too to get up and running like you're talking about.
Yes.
And it's like, hurry up
Yes.
to get back. And now the overhead of like keeping a shop open for 8 hours. I was talking to one woman who works at a jewelry store. Okay. Now it's not a fine jewelry store. It's a cute, eclectic, kitschy jewelry store,
Yeah,
costume
where they just
jewelry.
have like,
But you can't
seashell
have
earrings and stuff.
correct. You can't have one $15 sale
No, you can't.
a day. That doesn't even, and unfortunately with the hurt that they went through last year for who knows
Inflation,
the
probably.
and
Yeah,
the inflation
inflation.
and now I don't know if they're going to be able to hold on and until it gets back, until we bounce all the way back. And we should be, we should also mention too that along the socials we see the businesses, we're here, we're open,
Yes.
please come. But the problem is too with a lot of people having to come to the area to participate in the tourism, they're not able to get a hold of the places maybe that they're
Yeah.
going to be staying. And so I have to say, I have to say this from another point. For example, my hardworking parents, they scraped and scrounged for us to afford
Yes.
1 week's vacation a
Yeah.
year from
Yep.
Missouri.
Yep. Totally get that.
We would
Totally get
want to
that.
do everything in our heart to get here to support this area. But at the end of the day, do we want to be,
Yes.
I don't know. It's our
Without some of
vacation.
your favorites.
I know.
Or even no. I mean, some of them, and it's so hard for some of these hotel owners. And we saw this a little bit in COVID too, because most of the part, it's a little bit of a prepay. And
It is.
they
Yeah.
they don't know what it's going to look like in March because they might be waiting for something today. And of course, you would think that it's going to be okay by March, but go ahead and get some of these things going. And then now I'm seeing like some stop work orders go up and it's like,
I'm starting to
please
see stop
stop.
workers too. And
It's
I've
like,
actually, a couple people, which we've talked about this previously, where if I'm not going to say if you can't wait, because that insinuates so many things, but we had heard that people are proceeding
yes,
and documenting, right?
yes,
They're being
yep,
told if
yep,
you have to go, but document
everything.
everything
Yep,
like a freaking private investigator. Like take a video from the outside of your residence showing the house number, walking in at that very moment, walking right up to the wall to show the screw that's going in, right?
yes,
Like we're talking crazy documentation. Unfortunately, I'm having people I actually spoke to someone and I don't want to betray her confidence in sharing this with me, but they're done. And they
yeah.
got their letter today. They're not allowed to do that. They got their substantial damage letter today.
And they
And
were
they've
over the
already been back
50.
and done their block, all the things. Yes, yes. So
They're
that
going
is
to
a
have to go
battle
through the appeal process then.
that they are going through
Yeah.
the appeal process, but it's just like they're already done.
Oh my gosh.
I know. So and honestly, I'm hoping that it'll be kind of a simple miscalculation with the private appraisal and the appeal and everything
Sure.
like that, because it sounds like they're very, very close.
Okay. Okay. That's
Okay.
good. That's good.
Because honestly, this woman did not expect this. She was like, no. So anyway, going to battle.
Oh my
So,
gosh. Yeah. So, but
yeah.
hopefully, I know there's a lot of conversation about, well, we have Seafood Festival at the end of March, and we talked about that last week. So hopefully, in the past, one of the worst weekends for us to be hosting it, honestly, because it's usually the busiest weekend that we see in John's Pass for spring
But
break.
now
But
we're kind of
now
like,
it just
bring it
actually
on.
I really am hoping that this becomes like a really good year for everyone, just to find people's like inner peace and stuff like that. But yeah, that's unfortunate to hear about New
New
Year's
Year's
Eve.
Eve.
Yeah,
It
there's just
was
not enough
odd. Yeah.
overflow, because usually there's overflow of people that they just end up going into over to John's Pass just to hang out. But
Would you feel comfortable? You're down there a lot more often than I am, Stephanie. Would you feel comfortable in saying that like 70%,
yeah, I would say,
65% of the stores are
yeah,
open and
yeah. And
businesses
some
are open?
I would absolutely say that. I mean, there's some that are working through it. I mean, we have Brian over at the Spice and Tea Exchange that he's like
Right.
doing a tent outside. Okay,
He's
so
got
he's
his
not
pop-up
open the
tent.
same way as he always was, but that's okay. Salty Sisters, which is right there, like where the core family owns, right across from
The popcorn.
Delosa's.
Yep.
So they're just working through that. But I did see a food truck there for the
Nice.
popcorn place. So they're trying. Delosa's, at least they got their bar open. I mean, I know it's not pizza, but they got their bar open. Pirates Pub is doing fantastic. So some of them, as a business owner, and then like some of the water sports that work with us. I mean, people will say, well, like you're in competition with them. Well, not really, because there's usually enough tourism that it doesn't matter. Like if there wasn't enough tourism generally for there to be like 4 different places, it wouldn't matter. Parasailing on both locations is not back, but actually some of them made a conscious decision that we're just not going to open back up till March, because we are going January, and we typically close for 2 weeks during this time frame anyway, because Michael and I go on vacation, and we decided not to go on vacation this year. But we decided not to go on vacation this year, but we are still going to close for a couple of weeks because it's truly not necessary for us to be open from a financial perspective. Now, with all of that being said, I think that there is enough businesses that are open and good businesses that really, really were able to persevere through some different things. And we've talked about this before, but that also probably personally had to deal with some stuff too. So for them to both to manage their business and their personal life,
And
I'm super proud of like just all of John's Pass and how much did get open. And I really do feel bad monetarily for some of them that, the food ones are the hardest ones. So retail, like totally, it's not fair that it's $15 a day, right? But their inventory doesn't expire, which is the good part. Whereas like the food piece of it, that's what I think is difficult, because like we just added, I believe it was at the end of August, beginning of September, where we have that that Big Dick's Last Resort.
Yes.
And they're in a location right next to Delosa's, but upstairs. So it's definitely not the easiest location, but what a go they've had since they started.
Right. Well, and they've also, even being a bigger national chain, some people might recognize Dick's Last Resort. Like personally, I had been the one inside
I added big
Excalibur.
to that.
You did, for no reason, actually.
Reason.
How did I?
No reason. Just needed to add it. Just wanted to flare it up a little bit, apparently.
We can all. It was a Freudian slip. So Schmedium Dick's Last Resort. No, I'm just kidding. Big Dick's Last Resort. Now I'm going to say it. You got me here. Okay.
Oh my God.
All I was trying to say was that they also, again, I've been to the one inside Excalibur in Vegas, and for them not to be like a local entity, they have been giving, what is that, a 20-25% discount to all locals ever since?
Yes.
I mean,
it's
come
crazy.
on.
Yeah, we ran a discount too. I mean, even if it was just for potential, I mean, we didn't think a lot of the residents would be like, I feel the need to go jet skiing. We thought maybe the workers might want to. So we offered one all the way till the end of the year too.
I saw that.
Significantly off, just to help anyone out, and it actually streamlined our whole process too, which is always, we're all rooting for John's Pass, right?
We're all rooting for John's Pass. The last thing two things I'll say on that subject. Number one, Trent and I actually, with your discount towards the end of the year, we debated getting our wetsuits on and being like, let's do it.
Your discount's hefty.
I get cold. So, secondly, not only when we were talking about the product, when you were mentioning specifically regarding the retail stores that have product that don't expire, and then the restaurants that are actually purchasing the perishable food, right? To serve the people that hopefully are going to be coming. The other thing I want to mention too is that these restaurants or these businesses that have been able to reopen, the staff, guys.
Yes.
Okay, so when she mentioned basically also like a lot of the business owners are dealing with not only the part with their business, but also probably their home.
Yep.
Because a lot of them lived along the barrier islands, but a lot of the staff members too. We have to remember we're also renting or living on the barrier islands. And for the businesses that have been able to reopen to hire back their staff, I have to say too, any business that can, and from what I've seen, that is able to take on more staff, they are taking on other people's okay, to help support them. And so, for example, I talked to one lovely woman at the Pirates Pub, and then we can really move on. But I talked to this lovely waitress at the Pirates Pub about probably about a month ago. And she said that she had actually worked at another local business here in town for close to a decade, and they were not getting anywhere. Unfortunately, I don't know if they're going to be able to get anywhere with reopening in their existing structure. But she actually, when this Pirates Pub was able to reopen, she had a girlfriend that was working there that called her knowing she was on unemployment and said, we are actually able to hire someone right now. She said she started crying from happiness and was like, yes, please, thank you. But the problem is her concern was with the foot traffic not being what it was and the business they weren't seeing bouncing back. And I hope that that changed through the holidays. She was worried because she was first in. So probably, or last in, so probably first out. And so this is the other thing we have to realize is that by supporting these businesses, not only are you helping to support the
she's
business
a layer
owners themselves,
one,
but the staff. There's so many layers to it. There's just so many layers. So,
and a lot of the people that's one of the ones that we always recommend. We just think that their ambiance is great, their food is great, they got big beers.
I was just gonna say they also have a 32-ounce Bloody Mary,
32-ounce,
just for everyone
they do
else.
that they're actually the big ones for Seafood Festival. Is the 32? Everyone walks around with it, and people go, "Where did you get that?
Where did you get that?"
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And for my fellow Bloody Mary connoisseurs, it is Zing Zang. So line up.
It is. Yeah. It's totally worth it. 32 ounces is the way to go. 32 ounces in any style, like any drink you want there. They are not shy about it, which is good.
I like their style.
Go John's Pass.
Okay. Go John's Pass. Please come back if you can. Okay. So now that we've kind of gotten off of our little...
Let's get down to business.
That kind of turned into a salty rant.
It did.
It did.
Are we just normally salty?
Girl, I think
maybe it's with your new age.
Now it's my fault.
Well, maybe you're influencing me.
No, you know what? Salt preserves the body.
It does.
So as far as I'm concerned, let's do it.
And it heals the wounds.
Thank you.
Rub
exactly.
Instead of in Florida, you don't say rub some dirt in it. You say rub some salt in it.
Yeah, salt. Exactly. Because sand is probably dirty, right? Or contaminated, as we learned.
Don't put the sand back on the beach. It's contaminated.
No,
yeah, we learned that all.
And actually, that reminds me.
We learned it with Debbie. Damn it, Debbie.
I need new sandbags.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you are, Stephanie, but everyone is like, what's going on? What's going on?
Yeah. I think like to kind of get into just some of the tools that are out there that everyone is to revisit some of the things, but also get into some of the tools. We know that as real estate agents, that a lot of the clients that we have are become so savvy with their overall knowledge, or at least what they spend their time on. I mean, you think about some of these major platforms that have changed the need for what they feel like is the initial need. Like we say, a buyer is usually 12 to 18 months out. And I think that time frame is a little bit less now, because before they get someone actually involved in it, meaning a realtor, they're usually going on their own major platform of choice. And, just to mention a few, there's like Zillow, Realtor.com, Redfin, Trulia, Homes.com, Open Door, whatever one that that gravitate toward. But most people gravitate towards Zillow primarily because if they already own a home then they actually want to know the value of their home at the same time. And so this is one of the things that's like Zillow is like the most visited real estate site in the US. It has like
Really?
57 million visitors on a monthly basis. Monthly basis. And most of
Over
it,
10.
it's
Yeah,
crazy.
no.
It's
Okay.
crazy. And 65% of their real estate is right on their mobile app. But they've done it's basically a technology company that offers real estate on the side, right? And so they are just have figured out the algorithm of everything when it comes down to it. And so if we focus just on like Zillow and we break down like the value of Zillow to just real estate in general, but also how it helps us. And then also how we have to like sideline some of the conversations with it too, is that, some of the key features that they have is like, obviously that Zestimate, they rolled that out a long time ago where it just goes through like estimate of home value so that you have an idea of not only what your own home is, and we're going to use the word ballpark because it really is ballpark. And then also, what if you want to know what the home value is of maybe a home that you've seen? Like there's a couple homes that are up in Connecticut that Michael and I always keep a watch on because we want to know if, first of all, if it's going to go on the market. But no matter what, I also like to know what the value of that home is. It obviously,
number one, that doesn't surprise me given your industry in real estate. And number two,
yes.
Don't you dare freaking leave me.
Oh, no, I'm not going to leave. Michael wants to buy another home up there.
I will allow a second home in Connecticut
leave
because
us.
It's the okay. Golden Girls. It's
yes.
starting.
It's starting. We're starting. That's right. But we're going to be like the Suncoast girls because we're on the other side of the state. Yeah, those were Miami.
They were. Mm-hmm. You're right. Okay. It's so funny how many times we can tie this back to Golden Girls. I know. Anyway, go ahead.
Exactly. So then it goes into the listings. So it gives all the listings and it pulls it from the MLS. It's not like as a realtor, we sit there and we say, let's go ahead and make sure that we get on Zillow. The MLS, it pays the MLS for the listing piece of it, just like all these other third party. And then the other one that it does for homes for sale, rent, and foreclosures, short sales as well. But the other one it does is if a homeowner decides that they want to try and sell it by owner, it's one of the only platforms out there that has for sale by owner.
Yep.
It may not be in the same algorithm, meaning like if you search Seminole and in this zip code, you actually have to go over and check. I'm going to look at for sale by owners, which is not always the easiest thing in the world, but nonetheless, it does give people some of that opportunity. And then it goes into agent advertising, Zillow rentals, and Zillow home loans. So a whole bunch of different features that it has. I mean, it's really trying to just build this platform. I wouldn't even say it's a threat to us. I think it's an addition to us.
No, I think I think it's a tool that can help bridge between consumers and clients and customers and the local real estate expert.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know. I mean, when you start to put your foot in kind of everything, my analytical brain goes to, are you, what's that old saying where it's like, you're a jack of all trades, but a master of none?
Yes.
And I will say this though, about
Michael
Zillow.
and I's first realtor. She actually told us that.
Did she really?
Yeah. She was like, I was like, you have a lot of jobs. This is like way back in Connecticut.
She straight up said, I'm a master of none.
She said, I'm a jack of all trades, master of none. And I remember sitting there going, that explains a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
Feel free.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. That would have set my little brain on a derby. I'm like, okay, but you should be a master of the one that we're talking about right now, or at least lie to me and tell me you are.
She was pretty transparent. I was like, as long as she gets the job done, I might have to micromanage this woman, but we're going to get the job done here. Oh, yeah.
You look malleable. You'll do.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. I think I can control you. I got you.
I was going to say, I know exactly what you were thinking. You're like, yeah, I'm going to figure this out.
Yeah, that's my type D. Yeah, type D right there.
No, so what I was saying is, but at the same time, that's not really the case. I mean, with these third-party websites, Stephanie's absolutely right. When you start to think as, Joe and Jane are looking, you're like, honey, I think we need a new house.
Mm-hmm.
Or it might even not even be a dreaming situation. Let's say life is happening, and before they pick up the phone to call somebody, they start to do this Nancy Drew research on their own through these third-party websites, which, like you mentioned, Zillow, excuse me, is fed through the MLS. So everything that we can see regarding, minus a few details, because there is some things that we can see on MLS regarding realtor information that is not public. That you can see on Zillow, but the fact that they also incorporated the for sale by owners, the FSBOs, as we know it, that's a whole nother avenue. The fact that they're in the mortgage business, the fact that they're, you know what I mean? So I can appreciate it. And actually
Me too.
I feel like they also have, you know, on behind the Iron Curtain, if you will, they've also stepped up in their support and tools and technical capabilities in offering agents, right?
Agreed.
Because we know that using them for different things, like for regarding listings, like showcase listings, that's going to help my client's house stand out above the rest. So that is something that I keep in my marketing tool belt as an agent that I can help offer to my clients that not every agent can. But I love Zillow. I have to say that personally for me, when Trent and I, before I was in the industry and we were looking as Joe and Jane Smith, I, for some reason in the Midwest, found myself using realtor.com more. Now, this was also a number of years ago, and I have to say, I don't know about you, but I've definitely noticed in the marketing increase on television, streaming networks, YouTube, all the things of Zillow, realtor.com, homes.com, right? They even got Dan Levy.
I know.
I mean, from Schmidt, I love him.
I know.
So I'm just like, but at the same time, ew, David.
Ew, David.
Yeah. Ew, David.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, Zillow has just kind of in my opinion, has separated itself from the pack.
It has.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. And I think it has been separated for the pack for a long time. And again, I really just think that when it comes down to, it's probably just a technology company and they use the platform of just creating real estate with it. And I think it's easier in a lot of ways for us to have clients that come to the table with all these options that they've looked at and they've done their homework on and they've spent time looking.
True.
And I don't feel threatened by that at all. I mean, to take someone through the life cycle of, they're making a massive purchase in their life, they should do their own work. And if Zillow makes it easier for them to do their own work, I mean, so be it. It takes a little bit less for us. And I actually love that. And I mean, it's got home buyers, renters, sellers, and investors that it goes after. Now, they say that most of the time it's millennials and Gen X that really review it. But if baby boomers want to downsize or have investment purposes, then they use that as well. And I there's some definite criticisms and challenges. I think that the Zestimate accuracy, a lot of it may not. So they take the Zestimate accuracy and there's always a misrepresentation, everyone feels like, between the buyers and sellers and the agents. But they're like, if you were to, that's where the agent comes in, that is just necessary, because like right now when I'm forecasting, like for my buyers, what is their home worth, or even for my sellers, what their home's worth in this specific market. First of all, I both know that there's micro markets everywhere that will, things that will always sell very quickly. And then some things that are just going to take a little bit longer. And right now they are taking a little bit longer. But you almost have to do a 3-month look at what is sold versus 6-month, because our world changed since 6 months ago. But 3 months, it's so fast.
So fast.
And that's the only thing that the Zestimate hasn't done, is that just like an appraiser, like I was reading this MLS listing and you could tell they were trying to justify the price for it. And I get it. Like they were trying to sell their home and they're trying to justify. So they attached their appraisal price, which was from May of 2024. I don't know about you, but that feels like a lifetime ago.
That feels like a lifetime ago.
A lifetime ago. Yeah. And you and I both know that.
I don't even like to pull comps from less or more than 90 days.
Yeah, me neither. Me neither. Me neither.
Yeah.
And fortunately, appraisals take a little bit longer to right size than like the market does. So in this situation, we're a little bit more of a neutral market where it's buyer and seller, both are aggressive, but the sellers, unfortunately, because of like the Zestimate or because of when they originally wanted to put the home on the market, which might have been like 100 days ago, to when they actually got it on the market to
May of
today.
2024.
Yeah, let's call May of 2024. Let's just use that one as an example. Okay, so we were on the downtrend of like some of these hot, hot, hot prices, especially if you're a single family home. And now we're
Yes.
in this place where the sellers and what they want to offer, they want to get for their home. I'm so sorry, but you are so far off what the buyer's willing to pay right now because of
Right
interest rates,
now.
because of everything.
Right.
And
All the
because it went up too high a couple of years ago. And that definitely makes it, that's the Zestimate accuracy that's really hard and combative, but that's where it's hard as an agent sometimes because you still want to get the listing and you want to
Yeah.
help these people, but you also have to
Right.
have these really hard conversations with them. And I
Yes.
know they don't like me because of it, but it's like, I'm
I'm
just
not gonna
delivering facts.
Yeah, I'm not gonna I hate to use that analogy, but it's like, I'm not gonna piss on your leg and tell you it's raining.
It's right.
I'm sure there's an agent that came in here before me, maybe an agent that'll come in behind me and tell you like, yeah, 100%, we can list it for that. But the point is, we can list it for that. Do you want to sell your house?
Yes. You have to
We can
decide that.
list it. Everyone can list.
You just
But
have to
do you
decide
want to
how
sell your
motivated you
house?
are.
Right, exactly. And I think that you brought up a good point because you're right, micro markets. But I think something that I want to bring up too is within micro markets, you have micro conditions.
Totally. I love that.
We don't even use that. I feel like I'm going to write a little suggestion
You are.
box into the
You
company.
need
So
to.
micro conditions, because let's also, I mean, we keep coming back to the beaches specifically, but the barrier islands, right? That is totally different than what's going on less than a mile away across
Across the
one
bridge.
bridge.
One bridge.
Across one
One
bridge.
bridge.
And when we tell the good people that don't live here, we're not talking about Franklin Howard. We're not talking about the Gandhi. We're not talking about something that's a mile long. I'm talking about something that's maybe what, Stephanie, 1,000 feet across?
Exactly. Like
That's
anyone
it.
can run it.
That's it. Right.
Yeah.
And so just the difference of that. And so with that also being said, though, think about the fact that yes, we are a different beast because we're on the islands. We always knew that real
Yes.
estate was a little more expensive along the barrier islands than just 1,000 feet over that bridge, right?
Yes.
But now what we're dealing with everything that we've gone through with those hurricanes, is that it seems to be, I don't even want to use this word, an inundation, because I don't want to say the FLOOD word.
Yes.
An inundation of properties with people that are getting the verdict
Right.
of what they have to deal with after these storms. Every single day, properties are coming on.
Yep.
You see it.
Yep.
I'm seeing it.
Yep.
What is that doing to the 37 that are already on there?
Yeah,
It's just,
yeah, exactly. It's almost like there needs to be another checkbox right now that says as is, like meaning it's destroyed and you have to figure it out. And
well, it's
no,
land
actually I
value
can live
only.
there.
Yeah. It's land value only
Yeah.
is what it is. And yes, there's even places that, yes, even if they could be remediated and they've gotten the approval to do so, it's still going to take money to put back in there. But what I'm getting at is, what's it called? Supply versus demand in
Yes.
any business situation. So when there is a shit ton of supply,
What happens? It
who
becomes a
has the
buyer's
power?
market. Yeah.
Who has the
And we
power?
are
Right.
different a little bit from like the rest of the
We are.
country. And that's
True.
really, really hard for anyone that's living out of state. It's good if you're just in the market to buy, but it's really difficult if you're living out of state to actually understand that because your local market is constantly telling you, oh, I sold in 6 days. Oh, I sold in 22 days. And it's like, we're lucky if these things aren't expiring right now. And
I know.
And that's just like kind of where it is. But yeah, I mean, the Zestimate accuracy is always a battle. And I think it's all good conversation. Like, I think that that's where you can show your value.
I think it's a good jumping off point for you because you're exactly right. Because depending on where that Zestimate falls, it starts the conversation,
does.
right? These people have now picked up the phone regarding that information, or we sound so old school and picked up the phone. They have reached out to a professional in the industry because they are ready to start making moves. Okay. So with that being said, they have an idea, and you're absolutely right. That at least starts a conversation because otherwise we get asked the question, how much is my house worth?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of things we're going to talk about to figure that out. And I'm not saying somebody walks in and slides me a Zestimate and I'm like, oh yeah, now I can come up with it in 20 minutes.
Exactly.
That's not the difference.
That's not the difference.
But at least it gives us a point to go from. Or at least it also is a point in which I can explain to you, this is what the home value would have been for the market of August of last year.
Right.
What's currently going on right now. And if you were able to wait, and that's the other thing, we don't have a crystal ball, right?
No.
We as real estate agents, we were kind of busting chops of like property management of like, pick up a phone. But like, we also can't sit here and tell our clients that like, oh, 100% may able to be 100% better.
Yeah.
I can't tell you that.
No.
It's going to be, what do you need right now? And we're going to figure out if you have to go right now, then we're going to figure out how to market that house right now.
Exactly.
If you can wait, then maybe we're going to wait and see how it shakes out, but be prepared, because if it looks like it's not getting any better, we got to go now.
Yes.
And we might have to pivot that marketing strategy. But it all has to do with when that person
needs to or wants to sell.
Correct.
Yeah. And a lot of, and then like the other criticism and challenge of Zillow that people talk about is like the agent pay to play, is that there's a lot of like, and that's the other like criticism besides this estimate. But I'm okay with that. I mean, if you're going to go ahead and, take on that expense, then you're good with that. I mean,
I mean, like we were just saying, it's so common now for customers and the general public to be able to go on these third-party sites and search for these homes. And I'm not going to lie, I mean, that was me before I got into the industry. I would be up late at night looking at areas that Trent and I had visited for a weekend.
Yes, exactly.
Just
what's the market look like here? Exactly.
Just to look at what the market looks like there, right?
That's right.
But I mean, if they're already on that website and they're going to click that big blue button to say contact an agent,
go for it.
Why am I not going to put myself in that lottery to play? Why am I not going to do that?
Right.
That just seems like a bad business move as well. So
that's right.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be the market. I mean, that's the only market that I think it's great that they offer it, actually, is the ability for you to jump into that market. And, but and it most of the, and this kind of transitions to that whole like home loan that we were talking about, because Zillow really pushes that home loan. That's one of their big business initiatives, is trying to get people to grab onto a home loan officer right through Zillow. And that's super smart. I mean, not everyone sits there and has a home loan, person right at their dispense. So if you're going to trust the agent, why not that?
I can't wait till I'm living my 8th year and my 39th year. And I get to say, like, I got to call my financial person.
Yes. Right.
I don't have that person. So yes, I will be reaching out to Zillow.
That's right. That's right. Well, and it almost makes sense, because so I was talking to a guy yesterday, and he's just looking for an apartment, and like he's looking at a couple of sites. Trulia was one of them, and for an apartment. And the reason he loved is total Gen X. The reason he loved Trulia, I think isn't it?
Yes.
Trulia? Yeah, is because
it is Trulia. There's a local builder that's similar, but it's without the R. So I do that all the time.
I have to tell you that the problem is that I'm getting it mixed up with the drink, and so that's why I was like,
Truly,
yes. That's why I was challenging myself on the name. Is that I was like,
I'm thinking of the local builder without the R.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was literally sitting here going, wait, am I saying the drink or the actual name of it? But anyway, to get back to the point.
Speaking of which, actually, keep going back to your point. I'm going to go drag another. So
drinking. Here's our segment. What are you drinking?
You know what? Maybe we should make this a segment.
Yeah.
So it's going to be spoiler alert. Sorry, boys and girls, but
we have our happy hour during our podcast.
No wonder I wanted to come here for my birthday. This is my best happy hour with my best gal pal.
Secret's out.
There we are. So Secret's out. The Copper Cup actually is holding neutral lemonades. You turned me on to these.
So good.
I know.
I feel so proud that I did that.
I have to say, this is the only thing that's making me feel better about the fact that I know the cranberry ones are going, because they're holiday.
Yeah, I saw them at the wine shop in John's Pass, actually.
What, the cranberry ones?
Yes, they were up in the wine shop. The one next to the taffy shop.
Duly noted. I'll be there tomorrow.
Duly noted. So yes, I'm supporting the Amsterdam cup and
yay, your Starbucks cups.
My Starbucks cup, and then the Blue Moon Light.
Wait, you got to hold your hand up behind it.
Yes. Oh, yeah, that's right.
We forgot. We don't know what we're doing now.
That's right.
There we go.
Yes.
There we go.
I can
see it.
Okay, that was our big commercial break.
Well, I was gonna say, and I ruined your. I'm
No,
just gonna make one last
you
point
go
because
grab
I
your
had to
drink and I'll keep talking about Trulia, not to be
yes,
convinced with Truly. Yeah,
Julia.
Trulia. So he actually loved it because all he had to do was on the website go ahead and submit like all of his information, put who his roommate was going to be, who he was going to be living with, what his credit score was, references, etc. And that would be applied to every single home that he wanted to go visit. So it made it so easy for him so that all of the landlords, it probably made it easier for the landlords too, because they didn't have to sit there and be like, I need to get, I need to get this, I need to get that. It was all at his disposal. So I think that, pulling this back to we sell real estate. We don't necessarily rent real estate. There's enough websites out there for renting. And most of the time, one of the biggest reasons we don't rent real estate is because we don't get in that business is because a lot of the homeowners don't want to pay us. And that's fine. But we do work for a living. And so we stay in the lane of most of the time purchasing. I mean, sometimes we hope that one day that buyer, that renter will become a buyer. You
I've
have actually had very
yes.
good luck with that.
Now
So I
here's the
shouldn't
thing.
rain on your parade.
No, you're totally fine. So you're absolutely right. It's my neighbor. She's right across the street. So I listed her rental. Okay. We've had it listed multiple times with when the duration of the lease was up and we relisted. I've had another couple on my street do the same thing. And I get it. I live on that street. So I'm not sorry. I'm not saying that I'm vetting the applications.
Yes.
That is not what I'm
Yes.
saying. But it's like, these are my friends. These are my neighbors.
Yeah.
I will have to say, but at the end of the day, like Stephanie said, this is our business. In regards to helping someone find a rental,
Yeah.
that's a whole nother thing where absolutely there's enough information out there that the general consumer can go take care of and find the rental by themselves.
Mhm.
However, I'm just, I don't know. I'm nice. So there's a few of my close personal friends that I have also done a little
that's
recon.
Fair. That's fair. Me too. And sometimes it's just educational purposes for yourself. Like, you know what? Actually, I'd kind of like to, I'd like to kind of know that ish situation. So let me look into it myself. So I get
Actually,
that.
real quick, and I've had a couple instances now where this has happened, but my very, very first, when baby dear Caitlin got her license, the very first type of customers that I started working with, they were relocating to Florida, and they came to me as a buyer lead, and very quickly it turned into, which I totally resonated with, because that's exactly what Trent and I did. We want to rent first,
I think
boots
I
on the
remember
ground
that. Yeah.
for an annual, and then we're going to
And that's
purchase. Now I'll
fair.
say this, they beat us to it because they did exactly that. They rented for a year, boots on the ground. We looked at the properties and I wound up being able to help them find a home to purchase. I've had other buyers that have relocated to the area that we found a short-term lease option, a 3-month or a 4-month. So that same thing, we could get boots on the ground so we could start looking at places together. So sometimes it does couple and go hand in hand with ultimately, real estate purchasing.
Yeah. But
at the
Zillow
end of
does
the
it
day,
all. I mean, that's the thing, is that Zillow offers all of that.
Trent and I have never used an agent to find a rental. I mean, we only looked once together,
Right.
but I don't know. It just doesn't seem like something that
You would employ someone for
normally
that.
it's something that you have to involve an agent
Yeah.
for. So bye.
I totally
Yeah.
get that. Yeah, but going back to like that, just the ease of shop, and that's what like Zillow is trying to do, is create this whole, how do we create it so it's a one-stop shop? Like you can do your home loans and you can find a realtor and you can find a home all in one thing. And
Yes.
I think that that's probably brilliant, as a lot of these a lot of these loan officers, it's not a walk-in anymore. Most of them are remote anyway.
No.
There's not a place that
Yeah.
you walk in and say, I want to apply for a home loan. 99% of it, I would imagine, I'm just making up that number, but sounds like they would start on the phone or online anyway. And it's just them connecting with someone. And they're just people like realtors that are also probably buying into or paying to play into the home loan office place, right? Like they're not any different. They just might have that as a side hustle for themselves as well.
Well, and we don't have to dwell on it too, but in the regards of, this is my business and this is how I run my business.
Yes.
Some of the things that they might not realize with the general public is that we don't just get to raise our hand as agents and say, I want to play your game in the lead referrals off of your website, Zillow.
That's
Pick
right.
me.
Yeah.
That's not how that goes. We
No.
actually have to make an investment and put a little skin in the game
Mm-hmm.
to be able to receive those. And then we're actually held to accountability.
Yes.
And so, which I love too, because let's also think about the fact of
we should be.
let's make sure that the general public is getting with an experienced vetted agent that's going to take good care of them. Do we
Mm-hmm.
want them to go to an agent that's not going to answer their phone or be communicative? No.
Yeah, no, I mean the one that I got the other night, I don't know if I'm in the Zillow program. I didn't know if you knew that or not.
I am not, only because I work full time for the
Yeah,
company,
you
and
have
I
a
have
big
another
girl job.
program I can't
Yeah,
involve.
you can't.
No.
So, but
No.
I mean, I got a call.
I'm not a real agent.
Yeah, I'm in the program, and I can speak firsthand that I understand that there's certain things that they want you to talk about. Like, I get it. So, on Saturday, I mean, I received a call at 7:00 at night, and I answered it. And you can ignore it, and you can just let it go to the next agent. But I answered it, and so not only did I so I sent her all this comp information so that she had it. She was looking at one specific property, which is what ends up happening. It's not really a matter of like,
True.
make an appointment. It's literally like, we're looking at this property and can I go look at it with you? Which is fine. I'm fine with that introduction anyway. I'm actually a
100%.
little bit more uncomfortable with, let's sit down and talk about what you want. So I'd rather just kind of get to work.
Scratch.
I actually
Right.
would just like to get to work. I mean, that's my ID, but I just want to get to work. So she doesn't have to call anyone.
Too, just like a consumer might interview multiple people for a job like a real estate agent, why would you, I get the hesitation of having your credit dinged.
Totally.
Okay?
And you actually
get it.
don't with Zillow. That's the big thing.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's exactly what I was just about to say. Is my understanding is they don't. And also with that, when you
can't even go to JCPenney and not get your credit dinged. I mean, I want to save $10.
You have to learn to tell. You have to learn to tell the checkout girl, no, Stephanie.
I know.
I'm sorry.
I feel
when
bad.
they tell you to apply for the card.
I know she's probably getting like a free pizza in the back because she got a credit card opened.
Actually, it's better. Well,
I don't do that anymore because, as we know,
I don't do that anymore. I worked at New York and Company like
me too.
Years
that's
ago,
exactly.
Right?
I was like the credit card freaking queen.
Me too, girl.
Oh my God.
I was just gonna say I was the top credit. Yep, and here we are.
Here we are. Look at how far we've grown. I mean,
looks like we made it.
I've grown so far that I got my identity stolen a couple of weeks ago. I mean, that's how far I've grown. Great. Probably because I opened up a freaking credit card at, I don't know, JCPenney, Best Buy, I don't know, Piercing Pagoda or whatever it is. Like, I probably
Piercing Pagoda,
Auntie Anne's. Sure, I'll open up a credit card for these.
You're like, I didn't even know Tropical Smoothie had credit cards.
I'll open this up for this cheese corn dog. That's cool. Do you get points?
Exactly.
Yeah, I get put into
I
contest.
get a free scoop of chili with the credit card. Done. Let's do it.
And what do you get out of it? I actually get points for for me to keep my job. Okay, I'm done. Got it. Here's my social.
They're going to print me out an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. And then at the next company meeting, they're going to have a closed door conversation about making me a key holder, but no raises involved. That's what that happens.
Internal promotion. I think we're telling stories.
All right, get out of
anyway.
Let's get out of the retail.
Okay.
Get it out. Shake it out. We don't do that anymore. We're not there anymore.
We don't. So, yeah.
Okay.
So, but anyway, so yes, I mean, I don't know why. I mean, why not go into it? I think it's a great option for people so that they have all of that. I mean, I think in general, anyone that I think that it makes it so that there's a little bit more trust with the realtor when you know that some of the facts that they're giving you, I mean, you have to be a little bit, as a realtor, you have to make sure that you understand your audience too. Like, I definitely know some of my clients that have no clue. And then I have some that they want you to do the work. And then some of the clients that where I have to figure out how to show my value, right? And they can see, Zillow shows purchase history. But what can I tell them about the purchase history? And so I have to always figure out, this woman that I spoke to the other day, so sweet. And you could tell that she was going to rip apart any report that I was going to give her. And so I had to be really cognizant of that. But I mean, I think that that's I just think that that's so cool about the fact that Zillow does that, though.
It is. It really is. And I mean, it's a great starting point. And for people like you and I that maybe had no intention at that time of actually purchasing a property, it's a great way to dream.
Yes.
Too.
Yes.
So,
oh yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the only dynamic that is probably a little bit different now is that, so I'm going to show her brother the property. She lives actually like out of state. So I'm going to show her brother on this week, but is that like you have to, I mean, we've talked about this before, is that you have to get one of those like touring agreements done. But yeah, so that part, that's the only thing that's a little bit like, I'm sorry, I just have to let you know that I have to get this legally done. I'm not asking you to be, to be responsible to anything. I just have to make sure that I show that you actually are going to be showing this with me. But that's probably the only thing that like, but it also just gives you another option to show your value, right? So
correct. And your understanding of what are the regulations and rules in the real estate market in which your sister is about to participate.
That's right.
Fantastic.
That's right. That's right. But yeah, I mean, you and I both used Zillow before. I actually, when I first got started as a realtor, I continued to use it. I don't know if I use it to see what my clients are looking at. But I don't necessarily always use it.
No, go ahead.
No, sorry. I was just going to say that I don't always use it like where I pull it up and it's an open tab for me. Before I meet with the client, I like to see what they're looking at. But I also, that's just because I've become more comfortable with the MLS, and I know like in Title Toolbox, it's going to just give me more information than what like the client is going to see. But I want to know what they're looking at. But I actually love that as a tool for them.
Be prepared.
Yeah. I mean, but if I'm anywhere else, I'm like when I was in Chicago in September, I was on Zillow, obviously looking to see what the price of homes were. I mean, duh.
Obviously.
Obviously.
Plus, I want to know what Stacy from my high school reunion's house is worth.
No, yeah, what's your address again? Sorry.
What's your address,
what are you
Stacey?
doing? Just typing into Zillow?
You bought your parents' house? That's what I thought.
Yeah, I just typing into Zestimate. So I want to see what the Zestimate was on it.
And the last thing unless you have another fun fact, which I don't mean to cut this off, but the last thing I'll say too is that when we are actually, let's for example, say working with sellers, when we pull a comparable market analysis, would we not be doing our client a disservice if we didn't pull for sale by owners?
Yes.
I mean, we act like they don't exist because they're not on the MLS, but we have to go to sites like Zillow to find those, or for salebyowner.com, which we won't even pay mind to. But I'm just saying, it wouldn't be smart. It would not be a professional decision to help your people, in my opinion, if you do not also take a look at Zillow.
Yes, agreed.
It just is.
Just so you know. Just so you know what they're looking at. But yeah, I mean, I think Zillow is an amazing resource, and it's really narrowed the gap between like consumer understanding and the realtor having to explain a lot of things, or at times probably even for the consumer where they're like BSing you through the way and they don't really know what they're doing anyway. So jack of all trades.
Well,
King of none.
Whenever in doubt, if you do meet with an agent and they seem like a yes, sir, then call Stephanie and I, or reach out to us, email us, text us, poke us, follow us, whatever it is. We will tell you, they're blowing smoke.
Yeah. So I don't think that makes sense. Can
you imagine? Okay, no, we're going to get off of Zillow because they're going to say, can you imagine if I walked in and said, Zillow said my house is worth $578,439. And then, EXP is like, that's what we're going to list it for.
Yes. I know what that would eliminate our position.
Kind of. But
if that was exactly it, that's what would happen.
To explain to them why their house isn't worth $548,349.
Yeah, exactly.
In this market.
Or that's it. Yeah.
It's actually worth more. Because guess what?
That happens
Nobody
too.
else has a raised home right now.
Yes. Yeah, because that's what happens too. It's exactly it. But
I did see that your Bears won. Even, you know what? I have to say, I wasn't a huge fan of Caleb Williams, okay? Your little rookie quarterback came in talking some smack.
I know.
But I have to say this, poor kid has been humbled this year. So I was actually happy to see that happen.
Yeah. It was a good way for them to go out. I mean, it is a good way for them to go out. And unfortunately, I mean, as I've shared before, my oldest son is a Green Bay fan. But they'd already made it. But
that's right.
They have a couple of, Jordan Love has now got a situation with himself because I think he's a little bit injured. And then The other, the other one is let's see, Christian Watson. He's one of the players at Green Bay, and he actually has a knee injury, which is unfortunate. He actually, we met him over the summer. He came into John's Pass, which is cool. Yeah, it's a picture of him on social media.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that was cool. Like the big thing is that like till death do us part, Commanders Bucks.
I know, right? I'm actually really excited about this.
Me too. We're going.
You're going?
So Kansas City doesn't want to win every game, huh?
Did you notice that big shutout this weekend? Did you?
I mean, they didn't even try, Caitlin.
Honey, I'm kind of living for it. I'm sorry, but like
usually there's a fake try.
Yes. And here's the thing. I'm not going to sit here and say maybe Carson Wentz and the third string quarterback, they all thought they were going to be okay with it. But did anybody care? No.
They
And
just didn't want to play
am I
Joe
a
Burrow.
little passive aggressive and not part of the Kansas City Chiefs team, but I knew that us beating the Broncos yesterday would play into the factors of the Bengals making the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think they would have gone for it if they were undefeated?
The Chiefs?
Yeah. I think that would have been the hard part, right?
You know what? It would have been a really hard part. But the thing is that, yes, it would be beautiful to keep an undefeated season alive. But we've earned that resting point for our major players. So like Patrick and Eric Jones and all the people that need to recoup.
And Mahomes' wife is like 10 months pregnant at this point if she didn't already have it.
Well, and it's just actually, you know what? I'm a horrible person. I
haven't seen it anywhere. I'm sure I would have heard about it.
No, but here's the thing. I don't know. Okay. Even with an undefeated record, would it be smart to play our people that needed the time to recoup after we push the envelope to win the division to where now we don't have to? We don't give a shit what you people do. Sorry. We don't.
Right.
We're not bothered by what happens with the other teams because we've already secured what we needed.
Yes.
Plus,
that's your problem.
Here's the thing that a lot of people don't realize is that Kansas City is about to go for the three-peat.
Yes, the three-peat.
Okay.
That's big.
So even if it would have been an undefeated season up until then, I don't know. I'm not, Andy Reid Jr., Andrea Reid.
They didn't have to make that decision, which is good.
They didn't have to make that decision, but I will say this. Call Arrowhead, Burrowhead one more time and see what happens.
That's what happens. Sorry, not sorry.
We don't give a shit.
Yeah, right? Sorry, not sorry.
So I have to say, I'm actually a little happy with it. Might have been an introverted passive aggressiveness, but I kind of was living for it.
That's all right.
So,
that's all right. And then did you see that my Bears won? Yep, Michael bought tickets.
Lucky dog.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Well, Michael's going to buy tickets. Actually, neither one of the teams. There's certain teams in the NFL that have a massive following that it doesn't matter where they are in the country, they go. And unfortunately, because the Commanders haven't been relevant since like 1991, they don't have a huge following. And so we know the ticket prices are going to go down as they keep going. So they've already dropped from yesterday, which is usually not the case. Yeah, because we've been a season ticket holder for so long that we just know how these prices work.
Another note to self: $5 Commanders tickets.
So it's the Sunday night game. So
is it?
Yeah, Michael and I are gonna go.
Oh, that means I have to call. Wait, that means I have to call in sick next Monday. Hopefully, nobody I work with is listening.
Yes, that's right.
I'm actually really sick.
Yes, I'm very, very sick. So Michael is obviously a huge Commanders fan. I have latched onto the Bucks, and I was literally in tears when Mike Evans got his 1,000.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Oh my god, I was
good
in
for
tears,
him, man.
Oh my god, I was so.
What is it? 1,000 yards for 10 years, or 11. Every year for 10 years in a row.
11 now.
11 years in a row.
Yeah, and here's the thing: is that first half of the Bucks doesn't deserve to go to the playoffs. Second half of the game, Bucks deserves to go to the playoffs, but they had 40 some seconds left on the clock, and they had the ball. They were up by 8, so we can do the math. A touchdown and an extra
point.
Yes,
yeah,
would have made.
They would have had to run it.
Yeah. Any fumble or anything would have been very bad for the Bucks. But we still had 5 yards to go for Mike Evans. 5 yards.
Right.
5 yards, and
It
he
was
gets
9 he was at 995 yards for the
yes,
game.
and
Yeah.
he got
Or
a
season, excuse me.
3 and he missed 3 games
Yes.
this season, and he would have gotten an extra 3 milli. 3 milli. So, every other NFL team would have knelt on that ball, like, just would have said, like, "Nope, we're gonna take a knee. We're just gonna walk this out. We're not gonna do this."
For the protection of the team
Yes.
and the season,
And
but
the
they
playoffs.
trusted their
Yeah.
guys,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I have to say it's
And
been
they
really
threw it to
exciting.
him, and then he spiked that ball, and the enthusiasm and excitement that, oh my God, I could watch that reel over and over and over again. And Mike Evans is my boy. Like, if I were to pick, I'm a Bears fan, true in heart, because I grew up that way, but I'm
He
also, I
gives me
love the Bucs.
I like Mike Evans. He gives me Tony Gonzalez vibes
Totally.
from the Kansas City
Yeah,
Chiefs, and
right.
so I'm all about that. Like,
Yeah,
good
me
for
too.
you.
I'm all
I
about his
have to
tats.
say, I might earn points with Michael, but I am excited to see the
I
Commanders where
am
they're at because,
too.
like you said,
I am too.
honey, it's been almost a generation and a half
So long,
drought.
so long. And we have a couple of fellow workers of ours that are huge Commander fans
We
too.
do. We do. And I said it at the beginning of the season when it looked like they were going to catch fire. I was like, I'd like to see you guys at the end game.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I'm rooting for them. Don't get me wrong. Like, I mean, that is like till death do us part, because I'm going to be rooting for Michael. Michael's like, how do we survive? We both like different teams. I mean, this marriage is built on hate. And my dad's like, aren't all marriages built on hate? And I'm like, okay, wisdom. That's not necessarily words of wisdom.
Your dad,
He gets
your dad, I swear, I just heard like memories in the corners of my mind.
All he cares is if we take him. That's all he cares. Can I go? Yeah, because
Well,
it'll be
perfect.
the three of us. So
I will say this, and I know that, haters gonna hate, but the Chiefs, guys, seriously, hear me out. Okay, just hear me out. We are on the precipice of doing a
amazing
three-peat,
thing.
meaning winning the Super Bowl 3 years in a row.
I'm rooting for you,
Not
girl.
just going to the Super
I'm
Bowl,
rooting.
but like if you just let us have
Then he'll go
this,
away.
I can't promise that, but I'm just saying, like, anybody else can win the entire time we have Patrick healthy, as far as I'm concerned. Now, every Chiefs fan is not going to agree with me, but we're never going to be this close again. If we don't go and do this year, it's the monopoly.
It
do not
is.
pass
I
go.
get
Do
it.
not
I
collect
totally get
$200.
it.
Go all the way back.
Totally
to
get
start.
it. I was a Bulls fan
And
growing up. I get it.
Thank you.
Mhm.
You can
3
recognize
and
this.
3, one,
Thank
not 1
you.
year, and then 3 more than the following year. I get it.
Well, and yeah, for your precious little Buccaneers and Tom Brady, we could have just been
Yes.
over. It could have been
It could
done
have been
with.
over.
Okay.
Mhm.
But because of you good people,
Yes.
just let us do it. We just please.
Just want to
Now,
do
here's
it.
the thing. A lot of people are going to argue that the only people that can beat us is ourselves, because I'm not going to lie. We looked a little loose this year.
I thought you were going to try and pinpoint a game, and I was going to correct you and say, how about this whole year? Yes, the whole season.
There's been a lot of, there's, again,
Close
the
calls.
haters going to hate comment. There's been a lot of close calls. There's been a lot of pull it out of your at the end, right?
Mhm.
You can talk about the conspiracy theories. We're lucky, the refs, whatever you have it. But it's like when you put together that amount of talent, which everyone else has been fangirling out about in years past, about how much alleged talent that we have on our team, it almost seems natural that you kind of fall ass backwards into a W.
Yes, right.
Now that is,
Yeah.
I am
agree.
not discounting the hard work that our players have put in and the training and everything of that
And the
nature,
coaching.
because they are a star caliber team. And yes, God bless Andy
Mhm.
Reid, keep him healthy.
Seriously.
But I would love to have 2 Kelsey brothers retire from Andy Reid. Let's do it.
Yes.
Like, come on.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's, but even if they had
Here's
one
the
or 2 more losses, it
What
wouldn't
do you-
matter. They would still be
What are
where
your
they're
thoughts on the Lions, honey? We're missing a very important team right now, which is the Detroit Lions, because we want to talk about catching fire in the last few years. Detroit Lions.
Well, I think that it's been actually amazing, and that how good and how many wins that Minnesota had, and they just don't get any flair to the
That's very
game,
true.
right? But
That's
the
very true.
Lions, I mean, they're amazing too. We had an employee that worked for Woody's that was a huge Lions fan, and he worked with us since, gosh, I think we hired him in 2020. And like, he actually works for the FWC now, which is the Florida Wildlife Conservation, for those that don't know, and like down in a couple of counties. So Michael and I just went to his graduation party in December, and so they're from Michigan.
Aw.
Yeah, and they're huge Lions fans, so it's hard not to root for them with that. But
I have a couple
that's what they're
girlfriends. I
talking
have a couple
about,
friends.
that
Yeah,
it's going to be
they're
that game.
huge Lions fans. Well, here's the thing. So you talk about like 1991
Yes.
Commanders. Do we dare look up the last time that the Lions were?
I don't know. I really
don't
don't
know
know.
off
And
the
I
top
think
of my
that
head.
I actually don't know. And it's got to be pretty far from, it's been a long time too, but at the very least their season has been electric, and I think that that's what most people are asking for in the Super Bowl, Lions Chiefs Super Bowl, and that's what they kind of expect. I mean, I don't
That's what
know.
they wanted last year too.
I don't think
That's
that
what they wanted last year
exactly.
too.
I mean, I don't think that the Bucks are going to go. They might even struggle with the Commanders, which I'm okay with because I'm so happy for the Commanders and their success. But I mean, the Bucks did beat the Lions. I mean, but we had
Yeah.
Godwin at that point, so that's just a little bit different. But
I'll just
McMillan's been
say
doing
this,
good.
and living in Kansas, like with the Buccaneers, I resonate
Yeah.
with you because I feel like they've been right there.
It's
They
so
did win the
fun.
Super Bowl, right?
It's so
In
fun, though.
2021.
Yes.
But they've come so close to the playoffs with
And it's a
it the
different
last few
team in a
years.
lot of ways. It's
It
it's
is
a
a different
different
team in another
quarterback. I
way.
mean, it doesn't have the same coach. It doesn't have the same
No.
quarterback,
No.
obviously,
But
that
they got Mike
they
Evans,
do.
though.
He's so cute. I love him. And
Yes,
he's so good for the
Hunty.
community. Oh my God.
He does, and that's exactly why he gives me Tony vibes. But
Exactly.
what I will say this is that I feel kind of bad because it's hard. It's hard to watch your team fight right through the season a couple times and then make it to the playoffs and then just go that first
Right.
game. So I hope for the good people that, especially after everything we've been through in
Yes.
Tampa Bay, like I want to root for you guys too.
Mhm. I'm okay either way because
But the good people in Washington,
yes, I know.
honey, I'm 39 years old today. Okay. So when you say 1991, that is 29 years ago.
Yeah, that's crazy, right? I was in high school.
That means that there's some almost 30-year-old out there walking around that has never
Just had to show that.
has never experienced this.
I know.
And here's the thing. There were many a years that I was a Chiefs fan before we had Patrick, before we had Andy,
So you get
before
it.
we had all the, and it's just like, I get it. And I've also been to, we scrape and scrounge and get to the playoffs, and we go to that playoff game, and in Kansas City, honey, you're freezing your ass off to do so, right?
Yep.
But it comes playoff time,
Yep.
and you walk out of that game and we lose. And it's the first playoff game, and you're like, well, that was fun.
That was fun.
There you go.
That's right.
And we're done.
I know.
And we're done.
I know. That is
And
the
it's
hard part.
hard. It's really hard, but I don't know. I don't know who
I mean, I literally am okay with either way.
Okay,
I really
you know what?
am.
Go both teams, and now I'm going to be extremely cutthroat because, again, three-peat, no excuses, play
Yes.
like a champion. I kind of hope the Bucks win only because I like my chances better of beating their
Yeah, I
asses.
agree with that. Actually, that's actually good. That's
So if
probably
we're
more
gonna get,
accurate.
we're just going to go completely strategic
Yes.
from this point
Yes.
forward in the NFL playoffs. So when Stephanie and I talk about this next week, because we will,
Yep.
there's no way
There's
we
no way we
can't.
can't.
We're football
That's
fans.
right.
I
We
mean,
can't even
it's
help
gonna,
it.
we can't help it. I was gonna say it's gonna come down to, we'll see how this shakes out.
Yes.
But I love it.
It's so
And honestly,
fun.
every year at the conclusion of the Super Bowl, no matter who wins, the Chiefs. I literally say, Trent and I look at each other like,
Now what do we
shit,
do?
what do we do now until football
I
season?
know.
Yeah.
I know.
So
It's the truth though, right?
it's good to have
It's
an
so
obsession.
good.
Right?
I don't even mind
So-
that my whole family is divided by different teams because it's just fun. It's just fun.
But you also come together adorably and watch
Totally.
the 3 TVs that are haphazardly set up in your living room, which I love for you.
Totally. Oh my God. 3 TVs. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
It's football season, baby.
That's right.
There you
That's
go.
right. That's what it is.
All right. Well, go everybody, except for go Bucks for Steph and go Chiefs for
Yes.
Caitlin.
And happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. And hopefully you liked what we're talking about. Obviously, if you have any suggestions or questions or topics that you would like to see us cover, please feel free to reach out to us at the Real Salty Podcast. We have our socials getting it organized now.
Boop,
Shout out to
boop,
Stephanie
boop,
for being
boop.
a boss.
Yeah. We're getting it.
Boss. We're going to do it. So with that said, though, please feel free to reach out and take care.
See ya.
2025, baby.
That's right.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right.
Thank you.